The Wild update is set to release in the not-so-distant future, and while some people are slightly disappointed in the lack of biome changes and things like that, I want to bring to light some ideas that just make too much sense for them not to be added, or just some ideas which I think could realistically be added before that release. And to start off, I want to take you to an update aquatic feature, being the Sunken Shipwreck, and as many people know, the shipwrecks are actually created out of pretty much every different type of wood in a sort of combination, something like this. But yeah, you can find in every single type of overworld wood type, except for one particular one. Yeah, 1.19 is adding a brand new wood type, the mangrove wood, and as far as I know, they haven't implemented it to be able to generate as a shipwreck, despite having the ability of all other different types of overworld wood types being able to generate as the shipwreck. And just to give some form of demonstration, what I've done is I've actually rebuilt a shipwreck made out of the mangrove wood, and yeah, it could look maybe something like this, it could look maybe something a little bit different, but generally speaking, the mangrove wood is being left out of the shipwreck category of it actually being able to generate in. And not only will it let the mangrove planks actually generate into the world properly, but it'll also give another opportunity for players to find the mangrove wood, even in not an ideal way. It would at least be some way on finding another way in finding mangrove wood. And also, it would fill the consistency of the shipwrecks. Can't forget about that fact. And something else to not forget about is the fact that they now are properly heading the Goldhorn inside the game. They're flipping back and forth as to whether they should add it or not, and it seems as though they are actually officially rolling with it, and everyone has said at this point, a good use for the Goldhorn would be to maybe stun the Warden for a little bit. Maybe you blow this and then it gives like a 5-second delay for you actually to get away or something like that. And considering the amount of Goldhorns, maybe different types of ones can maybe last the stun a little bit longer. Maybe it could do a different type of ability or something like that. Just giving the Goldhorn some form of extra use rather than you just being able to blow it and making some form of a funny noise. Just you know, it just makes more sense, because you know, I'm all for like useless items inside the game, but I think the Goldhorn just has such a missed opportunity if they didn't do something like that. Speaking of missed opportunities, as we all know, the Wild update is very focused on the sound design, whether it be from the Warden or from the LA or something like that. So why not also add on to the sound element by maybe adding new types of note block sounds, say from the, I don't know, the frog light or something like that. Like, okay, granted, these three blocks are essentially the same, but if we ignore that, then this could give a good opportunity at actually giving, you know, these new types of lights more than just a use for being lighting up an area. Because right now, all the sounds they make on top of these frog lights are this right here. I don't know, maybe it's the side of me that loves making note block songs saying this suggestion, but I think it would be cool to add in at least a few new note block sounds this update. But something that also makes a lot of sense has to do with the mud blocks. So, as we know, we have the mud bricks, we have the packed mud, we have the slabs, we have the stairs, we have the walls, and the mud itself. Well, with all this being added inside the game, what's one thing you might be considered missing out of this one lineup? It has something to do with this, and yeah, it's cracked mud blocks. Because if we look at the lineup of actually cracked blocks, we can see almost every different type of one that you could actually craft does have a cracked version of it. And you know, just having this one extra tiny decorative block might be pretty helpful for some builders. This next idea for the mud block might be stretching it just a little bit, but as we know, a mud block can actually be turned into a clay block, as we can see right here. Well, what if with a similar design like this, what if we could turn the packed mud into something more renewable, say like, I don't know, sand or something like that? I don't think this is exactly how you get sand in the real world, but I think, you know, we can stretch the possibility of reality and things like that. I mean, come on. How many floating trees have you seen in real life? And I don't know, I think just having a way to renewably get sand, say from mud or say from some other type of a 1.19 thing, would be quite a welcome addition. But out of all of these that I've shown off today, the most important one and needed one that's so important to actually have inside the game is the fact that I can't place the mangrove saplings inside of pots. 1.19 being pretty discriminative over the mangrove things, huh? But in all seriousness, I think all these things I showed off should be at least looked into for the 1.19 update. I don't know if they have the time to add in all these things, I don't know if they're even thinking about it, but these are just some things I'd like to see before the update comes out.